Hey there, my name is Drinie. This is the Yoga Collective, and this is going to be a short tutorial on how to get into Sirsasana or Headstand. So we're going to get into Sirsasana A, which is a variation with your fingers clasped, as well as Sirsasana B, which is another variation otherwise known as tripod headstand. So just to give you a little understanding of what we need in our headstand practice. First off, a question that I get a lot is, what part of my head should be on the ground? So you want to place the heel of your palm in between your eyebrows and reach your middle finger towards the middle part of your head. Wherever the finger lands is where you want to have your head on the mat. All right? Now, you're going to have to set up. You're going to have your elbows shoulder width apart. And to make sure that they're shoulder width apart, I'm going to clasp onto my biceps. Okay? So then from that, I'm going to keep my elbows right where they are. I'm going to interlace my fingers in this position. Now, what I see a lot of yogis do, and it's not wrong, however, I find that if I give you this little tip, it gives you a little bit more balance. So instead of hugging your whole palm onto your head, what I actually do that creates more balance is I create some space. This little arc is space between my fingers and the back of my head. So I'm creating like this arc shape, okay? So once I have that, creating that arc shape, I place the flattest part of my head down. I squeeze my elbows in, and then I'm gonna straighten my legs. Now, maybe you're just here, just feeling it out. What you wanna do is lengthen the back of your neck. Allow your head to feel rooted down as you squeeze the elbows in. You can stay here, allowing yourself to get comfortable with this position, or you can walk the feet in. Walk the feet in. Now the idea to lift up is to get your hips over your shoulders, over your elbows. So what I can do is lift one foot up towards my sit bone and maybe the other. As I'm here, I slowly, next step is to lift my knees up. You may need a wall behind you, that's okay. If you're using a wall, I would place one foot on the wall, one leg straight. Allow yourself to lengthen up. What's important is that you root down whatever's on the ground. In this case, it's my head and my forearms and my hands. I root down to lift up to my right toes. Once I get comfortable, I push off the wall and I reach the other leg straight. Reach the tailbone up towards the heels. If you ever need the wall, bend one knee, find the wall again. And then to lower, you can pike down, or you can just backtrack from where you were. Slowly lower your legs, your feet down. Very important after a headstand practice is that you don't get up right away, but you allow yourself to integrate within child's pose. All the blood flow just reversed into your head and down the other direction. So this is very important, vital for you to not lift up and get dizzy and lightheaded, which you may have experienced before. Deep breath in child's pose. Good. Inhale through the nose. Let it out the mouth. All right, so I'm going to show you a pose that will be very helpful for you to develop strength in your headstand practice. It's called Dolphin. It's downward facing dog on your forearms. So you want to, again, measure the distance of your elbows and your forearms. You want them to be shoulder width apart. Again, to be sure, you can grab a hold of the opposite bicep. If you got a good grip of it, that's the right position. Lower your hands down and root down a little bit more on the thumb and index finger mound. So it's more of this action, okay? I'm internally rotating into my thumb and index finger mound, rooting my forearms down, squeezing my elbows in. Shoulders over the elbows, curl the toes under, and then I lift my hips up. I push my hips all the way up and root my chest back to my thighs. And if this is challenging for you and you feel like you're drooping down here, feedback for you to do it even more so that you're more in this position. So as I push my chest back towards my thighs, I roll my inner thighs back, ground my heels down. Resist the urge to lower your head. Your head is off the ground. I'm here for another 3, 2, and 1. Good. Lower your knees down. So another way for you to find more strength within that pose would be to lift one leg up and the other, okay? Now we're gonna show you the other variation of tripod, or excuse me, of headstand, which is tripod headstand. So for that, you're going to, again, measure the distance, elbow, shoulder width apart. Wherever your hands were clasped earlier is where you want your head to be. So imagine this being a triangle. The lower angles of the triangle, the lower points of the triangle are where you want your elbows to be, and that tip is where you want your head to be. So place your head right there. Wherever your elbows are is where you want your hands to be. And that's not too close because you won't find the balance. They're right here. And a good way to find if your hands are in the right position is that if your elbows are in a 90-degree position. To lift up, it's very similar to where we were earlier. We're going to curl our toes under. We're going to lift our hips up. We're going to walk our feet in. For a tripod headstand, I have a shelf for my knees. So what I'm going to do, I'm first going to stay here, get comfortable with it, squeeze my elbows in. This is where I have power. Anytime I draw my elbows out, notice my hands get off the ground, I am very likely to fall off balance. So keep that integrated, squeezing in towards the midline, palms flat. Draw my knee, one knee into the tricep. If you want to take it a step further, you can bring the other knee into the tricep as well. Pause and hold. So I find that once I'm here, this is going to give me an opportunity to use my core strength. By that I mean I'm going to push down on my hands and my head, whatever's on the mat. Use my core to lift my knees off the ground. Okay, it's like a crunch, but it's reverse. Instead of crunching it in, I lift my knees off the ground, or excuse me, off my triceps. And you could actually even do this little exercise of going back and forth this way. All right? Now, to lift up and go even further, I want to position my hips over my shoulders. And again, I may need to find a wall, place one foot on the wall, and have the other leg straight up into a 90-degree angle. I want to keep my straight leg activated. That means I'm hugging muscle into bone, and I'm bringing the energy all the way to my toes, whether I point it or I floint, which means ball of the foot reaching up, toes spread. When I get comfortable, I lift this other foot off the wall if it's there, straighten that leg. Again, if I need the wall,
I'll set one foot down. And again, find my balance. Squeeze the elbows in. Again, as much as possible, integrate into that 90-degree angle. Root down a little bit more in the thumb and index finger mound. That applies here as well. Keep breathing. Keep your gaze at one point. And then slowly come back down the same way. This time you're crunching in, out, knees into the triceps. Lower down. Lower your feet down. Walk the feet back. Child's pose. Relax. Give yourself a few deep breaths, allowing yourself to integrate. And it feels nice as well after that headstand, is that I gently sway my head from side to side. That just releases any pressure that I am maybe feeling in my neck, my shoulder area. It's a gentle release. And when you're ready, you can place your hands down towards your knees and slowly allow yourself to lift up. Okay, so headstand is a practice that is going to require a lot of focus, right? So anytime that we are taking our focus away and thinking about something, or our eyes looking elsewhere, there's more chances of us falling down. And so within the practice, it's going to be important to use what we call drishti, and that's just gazing at one point. So as you're inverted, I'm going to choose, sometimes I choose one point in my mat. If I'm practicing in a group full of people, I don't want to look at them, because if they move, I could possibly lose my balance and lose my focus as well. So I find that I choose one point that's not moving, maybe a little speck of lint on my mat, and I just keep myself focused. And this is the beautiful part of the practice, is that when we are in a pose like Sirsasana, and we're focusing so deep, allowing us to clear our minds from all that mind chatter, the chitta vrittis, it's practice as well for us to focus on other things that are really calling our focus outside of the mat. So allow yourself to find that focus within Sirsasana. Allow yourself to build up that strength within Dolphin pose, and even bringing one leg up and then the other. No shame in using the wall to begin with, but try also not to get too dependent on the wall. You could start by using what I showed you with one foot on the wall and one leg straight. Allow yourself to find the balance with the wall there, and then allow yourself to straighten the legs up. The wall's always there if you need it, but if you're giving yourself that time to find the balance, and if you're there for a minute or longer, it's time to practice in the middle of the room. Enjoy the journey, keep practicing, and I look forward to guiding you through more classes here on the Yoga Collective. My name is Drinie. I'll see you soon. Namaste.